Work out 8.46 divided by 0.15. So let's write this as a fraction. 8.46 divided by 0.15. I want to move the decimal 2 places to the right over here so that the decimal disappears from 0.15. And the same action will be done over here. We move the decimal in the numerator 2 places to the right as well. So that's going to give us 846 over 15. Now, 15 is divisible by 3 because 5 times 3 is 15. We don't know if 846 is divisible by 3, but there's a trick to check it. If we add 8, 4, and 6, that gives us 18. Now, 18 is divisible by 3 because 6 times 3 is 18. So when you're trying to check numbers if they're divisible by 3, always add the digits of, and if their sum equals to a number that comes in the 3 times table, that means that number is divisible by 3. So now what we can do is we can divide 846 by 3. We know 3 2s are 6, minus 2, 4 comes down, 3 8s are 24, 0 remainder, 6 comes down, and we know 3 2s are 6. So no remainder. So 846 is 282 times 3, which means we can cancel the 3 over here, and we have 282 divided by 5. Now let's divide 282 by 5 to give the answer in decimals. We know 5 5s are 25. 3 remainder, bring the 2 down. 5 6 are 30. 32 minus 30 is 2. Add a decimal, add a 0 over here. 5 4s are 20. So 282 divided by 5 is basically the same as 56.4. That is your answer. Question 1 says, work out 7 whole number 308 minus 2 whole number 108. Give your answer as a mixed number. So first we will convert the mixed numbers into improper fraction. To convert a mixed number to improper fraction, we multiply the denominator and whole number and then add the result to the numerator. 7 times 8 is 56. So we do 56 plus 3 and the denominator remains the same, which is 8. That's going to be 59 over 8. Same steps with 2 whole number 1 over 2. We will multiply 2 and 2. That gives us 4. Add the result to the numerator, which is 1 plus 4, and divide by 2. That's 5 over 2. Now that we've converted the mixed numbers into improper fractions, for us to subtract the two fractions, we need to make the denominators equal. Right now, we have unlike denominators. The first fraction has a denominator of 8, and the second fraction has a denominator of 2. So to make the denominators equal, I'm going to multiply the second fraction by 4. Why? Because 2 times 4 is 8. And since I'm introducing a new term in the numerator, which is times 4, I have to do the same in the numerator as well. So 59 over 8 minus 20 over 8. Now, since the denominators are same, we can combine it as a single fraction and subtract the numerators, which is going to give us 39 over 8, which can be rewritten as a mixed number, and that is going to be 4 whole number 7 over 8. That is your answer as a mixed number. As an improper fraction is 39 over 8. That is your answer as a mixed number. As an improper fraction is 39 over 8. Faces of a cube are basically squares. That means all these lengths are equal because the square has all equal sides. They said the surface area is 150 centimeters square for the cube. Now, as you can see, a cube has 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces. So since the cube has 6 faces, it's going to be 6 times x square. I draw one square face of the cube, basically what I'm saying is that I'm assuming that the length of this square face is x. So since there's 6 faces, 6 times x squared. If we divide 150 by 6, that's going to give us 25 equals to x squared. To find the value of x, we will square root both sides to get rid of the square on x squared. And that gives us 5 centimeter for x. To find the volume of a cube has the formula of x cubed. Because all lengths are equals, length times width times height is going to be x cubed, which is going to be 5 cubed. That is 5 times 5 times 5. And that equals to 125 centimeter cube. Volume has the unit of unit cube and square is unit square. Question 23 says the table shows information about the daily rainfall in a town for 60 days. So we have the intervals for rainfall and the corresponding frequency. Draw a frequency polygon for this information. So to draw the frequency polygon, we need the midpoints of the class intervals. So midpoints can be found by adding the minimum and maximum value and then dividing that by 2. So the midpoint of 0 to 5 is going to be 2.5, 7.5 for next, 12.5 for the next one, 17.5 for this, and 22.5 for this. So if I write the coordinates over here, that's 2.5 and 8, 7.5 and 24, 12.5 and 13, 17.5 and 11, and lastly 22.5 and 4. So now we're going to plot these points on the grid below. Draw the frequency polygon. So 2.5 and 8 are going to come over here. 7.5 and 24 over here. 12.5 and 13 over here. Then 17.5 and 11 over here actually. And 22.5 22.5 and 4 is over here. So now to draw the frequency polygon, we will connect these points with a straight line. Since the minimum value is 0, so we start from 0 and we connect them like this. And that is your frequency polygon. Question 24 says that we have a universal set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 values. A is odd numbers and B is square numbers. Complete the Venn diagram. So odd numbers over here, let's start with the intersection. So intersection between odd and square numbers is going to be 9 and 1 because both are square numbers and odd numbers. Square numbers other than that are 4 in the universal set. Odd numbers are 3, 5, 7, and that is it. So which means 2 will be outside, 6 will be outside, 8 will be outside and 10 will be outside. These will be outside. A number is chosen at random from the universal set E. Find the probability that this number is in the set B complement. So to be in B complement, let me just go back over here. B complement is basically that set which does not have B. B complement does not include the elements of B. So that's going to be this and the terms outside. All of this is B complement. So that's going to be, we need to find the probability. So for the probability first, let's write down the number of elements. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements. Total elements are given as 10 and 7 elements are not a part of B. So probability is going to be 7 over 10. 7 elements are not a part of B. Question 25 says that scattergram shows information about the ages and weights of some babies. Describe the relationship between the age and the weight of the babies, please. So as you can see, as the age is increasing, the weight of the babies is also increasing, which means there's a positive correlation. There's a positive correlation. As the age of the babies increases, the weight of the babies also increases. And part B says another baby has a weight of 5.8 kg. Using the same scatter graph, find an estimate for the age of this baby. So 5.8 kg is the weight of this baby. So that's going to come over here. So to find the age of the baby at the weight of 5.8 kg, first we need to draw our line of best fit. So line of best fit will be that line that has the same number of points above and below the line. So if we use this line, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points above the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points below the line. So this is our line of best fit. On the line of best fit, the age we're getting for the weight of 5.8 kgs is 3.6 months. So that is your answer. Question number 26, it says the price of holiday increases by 20%. This 20% increase adds 240 pounds to the price. This 20% increase adds 240 pounds to the price of the holiday. Work out the price of the holiday before the increase. So that means 240 is basically representing 20% of X. So that's going to be 240 equals to 0.2x because 20% increase adds 240 to the price of the holiday. So this increase, 20% of x is 0.2. So 0.2x equals 240. 240 divided by 0.2. Move the decimal 1 unit to the right. Same thing over here. So that makes it 2400 over 2. And that is equal to 1200 pounds. The next question says the diagram shows a solid cylinder on a horizontal floor. The cylinder has a volume of 1200 centimeter cube and the height of 40 centimeters. The cylinder exerts a force of 90 newtons on the floor. We need to work out the pressure on the floor due to the cylinder. So we have the formula, pressure equals to force over area. So if the volume is 1200, volume basically has the formula of base area times the height. We can calculate the base area by dividing our volume, called the base area x, and the height is 40. So 1200 divided by 40 equals to x, and that's going to give us 30 centimeters square as our area. So pressure is going to be force, which is 90 newtons, divided by the area, which is 33. So 3 Newton per centimeter square is our pressure applied on the floor due to the cylinder. Question 20 says, use this graph to solve the simultaneous equation. So in a graph, if they have drawn two lines which represent simultaneous equations, so it's just basically the intersection of the two lines. So x value over here is 6 and y value is -2. So that is your answer. Question 10 says, here's a pentagon. Angle AED is 4 times angle ABC. Work out the size of the angle AED. So this is angle AED, and this is angle ABC. So angle AED is 4 times angle ABC. So if angle ABC is x, angle AED is going to be 4x. Now we know this is a pentagon. The pentagon has 5 sides. So let's find the sum of interior angles for the pentagon first. Sum of interior angles is going to be n minus 2 times 180. Replace n with 5, so 5 minus 2 times 180 is going to be 3 times 180. And that's going to give us 540 degrees as the sum of interior angles. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put 540 equal to the sum of all of these interior angles. So that's going to be 135 plus 120 plus 110 plus x plus 4x. So that's going to be 540 equals to 365 plus 5x. Let me just separate this over here. So that's going to be 540 minus 365 equals to 5x. 175 equals to 5x, divide both sides by 5, and that's going to be 35 degrees for x. So angle AED will be 4 times 35, which is going to give us 140 degrees. That is your answer. Right, 6 times x to the power of 5 times y cube whole power squared divided by 3x squared times y to the power of 7 times 4x times y to the power of -3 in the form of ax to the power of b times y to the power of c, where a, b, and c are integers. So what we're going to do is, let's distribute the power in the numerator first. That's going to be 6 squared times x to the power of 5 whole power 2 times y to the power of 3 whole power 2 divided by 3x squared y to the power of 7 times 4xy power -3. 6 squared is 36 times, now whenever we have power inside the bracket and outside the bracket, we multiply the two. So 5 times 2, and over here 3 times 2. Three x squared y 7 times 4xy to the power of -3. So that's going to be 36 times x to the power of 10, y to the power of 6, over 3x squared y 7 times 4xy to the power of -3. Now I'm going to solve the denominator. So for the denominator, the rule we're going to apply is that whenever we have similar bases being multiplied, we add the powers. So x squared, let's start with doing 3 times 4. Then we do x squared times x, then y to the power of 7 times y to the power of -3. So that is going to give us 12 times. Similar bases are being multiplied, so we add the powers. X to the power of 2 plus 1 times y to the power of 7 minus 3. So that would equal to 12 times x to the power of 3 and y to the power of 4. Now 36 divided by 12 is 3. Whenever we have similar bases being divided, we subtract the powers. So x to the power of 10 minus 3 and y to the power of 6 minus 4. This will equal to 3 times x to the power of 7 times y to the power of 2. That is your final answer. So as you can see, we applied 3 different rules of indices. First one was whenever we have a power outside the bracket and inside the bracket, we multiply those. Second rule was whenever we have similar bases being multiplied, we add the powers. Third rule was that whenever we have similar bases being divided, we subtract the powers. The probability tree diagram shows the probabilities that Martha will win or lose each game. Find the probability that Martha will lose at least one game. So to lose at least one game, she can win the first game and lose the second game. She can lose the first game, win the second game, or she can lose the game and lose the game again. Because as you can see, the question says that we have to show the probability that she will lose at least one game, which means she can lose 2 games as well. So the probability will be 5 over 8 times 7 over 9 plus 3 over 8 times 2 over 9 plus 3 over 8 times 7 over 9. 5 over 8 times 7 over 9 gives the probability of her winning the first game but losing the second game. 3 over 8 times 2 over 9 gives the probability of her losing the first game but winning the second game. And 3 over 8 times 7 over 9 gives us the probability of her losing the first and the second game. So that's going to be 35 over 72 plus 6 over 72 plus 21 over 72. That's going to give us 62 over 72, which can be simplified to 31 over 36. That is your probability of Martha losing at least one game. Question 13 says y is directly proportional to x. Y equals 24 when x equals to 1.5. Work out the value y when x equals to 5. So if it's directly proportional, that means it's going to be y equals to k times x, which means when y increases, x will also increase. When y decreases, x will also decrease. So let's substitute the values of x and y to find the value of our constant of proportionality, which is k. So we will do 24 equals to k times 1.5. 24 divided by 1.5 equals to k. Which will give us 16. Now substitute 16 back into the equation. Y equals to 16x. Now we substitute x equals to 5. And that is going to give us 80 as the value of y when x is 5. So as you can see, as we increase the value of x from 1.5 to 5, the value of y also increased from 24 to 80. Then it says, write 1 over 16 in the form of 4 to the power of n, where n is an integer. Firstly, 16 is 4 times 4, which is equal to 4 squared. So if we rewrite 1 over 16 as 1 over 4 squared, we can see that we have the base of 4 over here. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to bring the 4 in the numerator. So when we do that, the power of 4 becomes negative. Since it was positive already, so in the numerator it's going to be negative. So 1 over 16 in the base of 4 is 4 to the power of negative 2. That is your answer. Then it says work out the value of 8 to the power of 5 over 3 minus 9 to the power of 3 over 2. Minus 9 to the power of 3 over 2. So we know that 8 is 2 cube and 9 is 3 square. So let's replace 8 with 2 cube over here and 9 with 3 square. As we said earlier, whenever there's a power outside the bracket and inside the bracket, we multiply them. So I'll multiply 3 with 5 over 3. And over here, multiply 2 with 3 over 2. The base remains exactly the same. So 3 times 5 over 3 is 5. So 2 to the power of 5. And 2 times 3 over 2 is 3. So 3 to the power of 3. So 2 to the power of 5 is 32. And 3 to the power of 3 is 27. So 32 minus 27 is 5. In case you're confused about why 2 to the power of 5 is 32 and 3 to the power of 3 is 27, 2 to the power of 5 is basically 2 being multiplied to itself 5 times. And 3 cube is 3 being multiplied to itself 3 times. So 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. And 16 times 2 is 32. That's why we did 32 minus 27, which equals to 5. Question 15, it says the equation of line L1 is y equals to 2x minus 5. The equation of L2 is 6y plus kx minus 12 equals to 0. Line 1 is perpendicular to line 2, which means the angle at the intersection is a 90 degree. This is line 1, this is line 2. Find the value of k. So a condition for perpendicular lines is that the product of their gradients basically equals to -1. So if you look at the equation of line 1, that's y equals to 2x minus 5. Now this is the slope-intercept form, where the coefficient of x gives us the slope and the constant gives us the y-intercept. So as we can see that the slope of L1 is 2, which means value of M1, which is the gradient of L1, is going to be 2. M2 is the gradient of L2. So we need to find the value of that. And this, the product of 2 and M2 equals to -1. So M2 is going to be -1 over 2, because we divide both sides by 2 to make M2 the subject. So M2 equals to -1 over 2. Now let's rewrite L2 into 6y plus kx minus 12 in the slope-intercept form. So we need to make y the subject. So we bring everything else to the other side. So it's going to be -kx plus 12. Divide both sides by 6. So that's going to be y equals to -kx over 6 plus 2, because 12 divided by 6 is 2. Now gradient over here is -1 over 2. But over here, x has the coefficient of -k over 6. So if you put them equal to each other, we get the negative signs get cancelled out and we get 1 over 2 times 6, which is 3. So k equals to 3. Do not directly assume that k would equal to -1 over 2, because once again, the values don't match. It's -k over 6 over here, and gradient is -1 over 2. So we put them equal to each other, and that would give us the value of k as 3. Question 16 says here's a sphere. Surface area of the sphere has a formula of 4 pi r square. 3/8 of the surface area of the sphere is 75 pi centimeter square. Find the diameter. So 3/8 of the surface area, which is 4 pi r square, equals to 75 pi. We have to find the value of the diameter. So diameter is basically 2 times the radius. So if we find the value of the radius from this formula, we can easily find the diameter. So we can first simplify over here. 4 ones are 4, 4 twos are 8. So 3 over 2 times pi r squared equals to 75 pi. We can cancel the pi because there's a pi on both sides. And if we bring the pi on the other side, it will just divide pi by pi. So now we have 3 over 2 r squared equals to 75. So to make r the subject, we first multiply 75 by 2 and then divide it by 3. So r squared is going to equal to 50 because 3 ones are 3 and 3 25 are 75 and 25 times 2 is 50. Now r will be square root of 50 because to find the value of r and to get rid of the square on r, we have to square root it. And if we square root one side, we have to square root the other side as well. So that's going to give us square root of 50, which is basically 25 times 2 inside the root. And since 25 is a square number, 5 comes outside and 2 remains inside. So diameter is going to be 2 times 5 root 2, which is going to be 10 root 2. That is your diameter. Remember, the 2 will get multiplied to the term outside the root, not inside. So we just multiply 2 with 5, that's 10. And root 2 remains as it is. Next question, it says make x the subject of the formula. So we have y equals to 4 times 2x minus 7 over 5x plus 3. So first I'm going to cross multiply to get rid of the fraction. So it's going to be y times 5x plus 3 equals to 4 times 2x minus 7. We can expand the brackets on both the sides. So 5x gets multiplied with y and 3 gets multiplied with y. Over here, it's 4 multiplied by 2x and 4 times negative 7. So that's going to be 5xy plus 3y equals to 8x minus 28. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to collect the terms with x on one side because we're trying to make x the subject. So it's important that the terms with x are on one side. So for that, I'm going to do 3y plus 28 equals to 8x minus 5xy. And that's going to be x common 8 minus 5y. Then 3y plus 28 divided by 8 minus 5y equals to x. That is the answer. In question 19, it says the menu in a restaurant has starters, main courses, and desserts. There are 5 starters, 12 main courses, and X desserts. Therefore, 20 different ways to choose one starter, one main course, and one dessert. Work out the value of X. So if we make the combination for the starters, that's going to be 5c1 equals to 5 factorial over 5 minus 1 factorial times 1 factorial. In case you don't know the formula for NCR is n factorial over n minus r factorial and then r factorial. So that's going to be 5 factorial over 4 factorial times 1 factorial. 1 factorial equals to 1 and 5 factorial divided by 4 factorial is basically going to be 5 times 4 factorial. And as you can see, there's a 4 factorial in the numerator and denominator, so we cancel it out, and this equals to 5. Similarly, for 12C1, which is the main courses, since we're choosing just one main course from the 12 main courses, it's going to be 12 factorial or 12 minus 1 factorial, then 1 factorial again. That's going to be 12 factorial over 11 factorial, 1 factorial. Once again, you write 12 factorial as 12 times 11 factorial. And 1 factorial is 1. If there's confusion about what I'm doing with the factorial, for example, 12 factorial is basically the same as 12 times 11 times 10 times 9 times 8 times 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is what 12 factorial represents. 12 being multiplied to each consecutive number before it till we reach 1. So over here, the 11 factorials get cancelled out again, and we're left with 12. Now for x desserts, it's going to be xc1 because we're choosing one dessert. So that's going to be x factorial over x minus 1 factorial times 1 factorial. So that's going to be x times x minus 1 factorial divided by x minus 1 factorial times 1 factorial. The reason why it's x minus 1 factorial in the numerator as well, because we're going one digit less. So x, the next digit after x would be x minus 1. The x minus 1 factorial will get cancelled out, and we're left with x, and 1 factorial is 1. So we do 420 equals to 12 times 5 times x. 420 would be 12 divided by 5, which is 60. And 420 divided by 60 is 7. So 7 equals to the value of x. The next question says, for x greater than 0, the functions f and g are such that f of x equals to 3x plus 4 and g of x equals to square root of x plus 2 over 5. Find the inverse of g. To find the inverse of g, first put the g function equal to y. Now we're going to make x the subject. To make x the subject, I'm going to first cross multiply to get rid of the fraction. So it becomes 5 times y equals to square root of x plus 2. Now I'm going to bring 2 to the other side. So it's going to be 5y minus 2 equals to square root of x. Now last step, to get rid of the square root, I'm going to square both sides. That's going to be 5y minus 2 square equals to x. So inverse is going to be square of 5x minus 2. That is your answer. Then it says solve g of fx equals to 3. So to solve g of fx equals to 3, we first substitute fx into g because this is a composite function. So g of fx will be square root of 3x plus 4 because you're replacing the x of g with the entire function of f. So square root of 3x plus 4 plus 2 over 5. This entire thing is equals to 3. So this is the equation that we have to solve. So once again, cross multiply 5 times 3, which is 15. So we got rid of the fraction. So we have square root of 3x plus 4 plus 2. Bring the 2 to the other side. 15 minus 2 equals to square root of 3x plus 4. So that's 13 equals to square root of 3x plus 4. Square both sides again to get rid of the square root. So that's going to be 169 equals to 3x plus 4. Now we bring the 4 to the other side. So that's going to be 169 minus 4 equals to 3x. 165 equals to 3x. Divide both sides by 3. And that gives us x equals to 55. That is your answer. Question 21 says A, B, and D are points on a circle with center O. CDE is a tangent to the circle at D. Work out the angle ADC. So we have to find this angle. So first you need to remember that a tangent makes a 90-degree with the radius. So your angle ODC is equal to 90. If two angles are coming out of the same chord, one angle is at the center and one is at the circumference, the one at the circumference is going to be half of the angle at the center. So it's going to be 64 divided by 2, which is 32. This is your angle BAD. This is 32. Now we can find this third angle over here by doing sum of angles of a triangle, which is 180. So 180 equals to 32 plus 51 plus x. I'm going to call this x. So that's going to be 180 equals to 83 plus x. 180 minus 83 is x. 97 degrees for x. So now we know this is 97, which means this angle over here is also going to be 97 because vertically opposite angles are equal. So now for the third angle over here, this one, we will once again do 180 equals to 64 plus 97 plus y. I'm going to call this y. This is for triangle ODL. Let's call this point L. Yeah, so this is ODL. And this was triangle ABL. So we will do 180 equals to 173 plus y. Then 180 minus 173 equals to y, which is going to be 9 degrees. So to find angle ADC, we will do 90 minus 9, which is 81 degrees. Why 90 minus y? Because this was y, which is 9, and this entire angle was 90. So if we subtract 9 from 90, that gives us the blue angle, which is ADC. So the circle theorem properties we used was, one was that angles at the center are double that of the angles at the circumference, which made angle BAD 32. Then we used the circle theorem property that a tangent makes a 90-degree with the radius. And lastly, sum of angles of a triangle is equal to 180. So these three properties were used to find the angle. Question 22 says that we have a cuboid ABCDEFGH. AF is 6.8. So this is 6.8. And FC, which is this diagonal over here, that is 13.6. We have to find the angle between FC and the plane ABCD. So that is this. This is the angle that we have to find. So as you can see, this is a 90-degree angle over here. So that's a right angle triangle. So if we draw the right angle triangle separately, 6.8, this is F, this is A, this is C, and this is 13.6. 6.8 times 2 is basically 13.6, which means FC is twice of AF. Remember this special triangle? We have the angle 30, 60, and 90. So if your length corresponding to 30-degree angle is 1, the length corresponding to 90-degree angle is going to be 2, and this is going to be √3. Which means over here, this is our 90, so that means this is going to be 30, and this is going to be 60. And this is going to be 6.8 √3. So over here, the angle FC is making with the base, that's going to be 30 degrees. Once again, using the special triangles over here. In a special triangle, we have the angles 30, 60, 90. And for the length opposite to 30 degrees is 1. The length opposite to 90 degrees 2, and the length opposite to 60 degrees √3. Since FC is twice of AF, so it meets the conditions for the special triangle, which means this is 30 and this is 60. And this length AC would be 6.8 √3. So the answer, that was the size of the angle between FC and the plane ABCD, 30 degrees. The next question says, write 3 √3 over 4 minus √3 minus 2 over √3 in the form of A √3 plus B over C, where A, B, and C all are integers. we're going to first make the denominators equal for both the fractions. So to make the denominators equal, I'm going to multiply the first fraction by root 3 and the second fraction by 4 minus root 3. The reason why we're doing this is because if you remember the rule of adding fractions with unlike denominators, the first step is always to make the denominators equal, and only then we can further solve the fractions. So that's going to be 3 root 3 times root 3 over 4 minus root 3 times root 3 minus 2 times 4 minus root 3 over root 3 times 4 minus root 3. This is what we have. So 3 root 3 times root 3 is going to be 3 times root 3 squared. 4 minus root 3 times root 3 is 4 root 3 minus root 3 squared again. Over here, 2 times 4 is 8, and negative 2 times negative root 3 is going to be positive 2 root 3 over 4 root 3 minus root 3 squared. As you can see, the denominators are equal now, but let's further simplify it. So 3 times root 3 squared is going to be 3 times 3, because square of a square root is the number itself. So it becomes 3. And this is going to be 4 root 3 minus 3 as well. Then minus 8 plus 2 root 3 over 4 root 3 minus 3 again. So that's 9 over 4 root 3 minus 3 minus 8 plus 2 root 3 over 4 root 3 minus 3. Now we can combine the fractions into a single fraction with the denominator of 4 root 3 minus 3 and do 9 minus 8 plus 2 root 3. That's going to give us 1 plus 2 root 3 over 4 root 3 minus 3. Now, if we look at the form given in the question, it's still not the same, because the difference is that there is no surd in the denominator over here. Whereas in our answer, we have a surd, so we need to get rid of the surd. So to get rid of the surd, we need to rationalize the denominator. So that can be done by multiplying the fraction by the conjugate of the surd in the denominator. So conjugate is basically opposite of what's given. So opposite of 4 root 3 minus 3 would be 4 root 3 plus 3. So you multiply the denominator and numerator by 4 root 3 plus 3. So now we have 1 plus 2 root 3 times 4 root 3 plus 3 over 4 root 3 minus 3 times 4 root 3 plus 3. Next, what we're going to do is expand the bracket. So 1 times 4 root 3 plus 3 plus 2 root 3 times 4 root 3 plus 3 divided by, now in the denominator, basically, we're using difference of perfect squares. Difference of perfect square is a square minus b square, which basically equals to a minus b times a plus b. So if you notice the denominator over here, that's 4 root 3 minus 3 times 4 root 3 plus 3. So we can rewrite this as 4 root 3 squared minus 3 squared, which is the same as the difference of perfect squares. 4 root 3 squared is going to be 6 times 3, because we square 4, which is 16, and square root of 3 is 3, and 3 squared is 9. 16 times 3 is going to be 48. So 48 minus 9 is 39. So that's going to be 39 over here. Now when you solve the numerator, we get 4 root 3 plus 3 plus 8 root 3 square, because 2 times 4 is 8, and root 3 times root 3 is root 3 square, plus 6 root 3 divided by 39. That's going to be 4 root. Now 4 root 3 plus 6 root 3 is 10 root 3 plus 3 plus 8 times 3 because square of square root 3 is going to be 3. So 10 root 3 plus 3 plus 24 over 39, which is going to be 10 root 3 plus 27 over 39. That is your answer. Question 4, it says find the set of possible values of x for which 4x squared minus 25 less than 0 and 12 minus 5x minus 3x squared greater than 0. You must show all your working. So let's solve these two inequalities separately. So for 4x squared minus 25 less than 0, we need to factorize this inequality. Once again, we're going to apply the difference of perfect square, a squared minus b squared, because 4x squared is 2x being squared and b is 5 squared. So that means a minus b times a plus b is going to be 2x minus 5 times 2x plus 5. So this is basically 2x minus 5 times 2x plus 5 less than 0. Now for the other inequality, we have 12 minus 5x minus 3x squared greater than 0. So what I want to do is I want to multiply each term by -1. So when I do that, I get 3x squared plus 5x minus 12 less than 0 now. Why? Because whenever we're multiplying or dividing inequality by -1, the signs of the terms would obviously change, but the inequality will also flip. So it's 3x squared plus 5x minus 12 now. So let's factorize this. We know 3 times 12 is 36. Now factors of 36 are 6 times 6. Then we have 3 times 12 is already done. 36 times 1. We have 18 times 2. And we have 9 times 4. So we have to pick that set of factors which when added or subtracted give us the middle term, which is 5x. We know 6 plus 6 is 12 and 6 minus 6 is 0. So 6 is out of our options. 36 plus 1 is 37 and 36 minus 1 is 35. So that's also out of our options. 18 plus 2 is 20 and 18 minus 2 is 16. That's also out of our options. We know 9 plus 4 is 13, but 9 minus 4 is 5. So this is the one that we choose. So we're going to replace 5x with 9 and 4. That's going to be 3x squared plus 9x minus 4x minus 12 less than 0. Now we're going to do factor by grouping. 3x squared plus 9x is one group. Negative 4x minus 12 is another group. So in the first group, we have 3x common. So x plus 3 comes in the bracket. And the second group, we have negative 4 common. And x plus 3 comes in the bracket. So now between 3x and negative 4, we have x plus 3 common. So when you take that common in the second bracket, we have 3x minus 4. So these are the two inequalities that we have. Now to understand these two inequalities, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a number line. Now on this number line, we have values of 5 over 2 and negative 5 over 2, which is basically positive 2.5 and negative 2.5. So if 1, negative 2, negative 3. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So this is our 2.5 negative and positive 2.5. So two values are going to be in this range. And for the other inequality, we have x equals to -3 and we have x equals to 4 over 3. 4/3 will be somewhere over here. So when you draw the line, let me put that over here. When you draw the line for that, that's going to be this. This inequality represents this range of values and the other inequality represents this range of values. So we have to choose that part which is overlapping. The overlapping part is this part. So x is less than 4/3 and x is greater than -5/2. This is the set of possible values. The reason why we chose a converging range for -2.5 to +2.5 is because if we sketch the rough graph for this, this is -2.5 and this is +2.5. The inequalities for less than 0. This quadratic equation basically represents the values of y. So if 4x squared minus 25 is less than 0, that means y is less than 0. And y is less than 0 in the part that is beneath the x-axis, this part. So over here, if you look at the behavior of x values at -2.5, we see that the values of x are increasing. And at x equals to 2.5, your values of x are going towards the left-hand side, so they're decreasing. So it's a converging range. Both values are converging. Similarly, for the other one, if you sketch the graph for that, we have x equals to -3 and we have 4/3. For that as well, the inequality is less than 0. So the values are going to be under the x-axis. So once again, the values are going to converge. So as you can see, the range where both the given inequalities have values where they're converging and are overlapping, that's basically from -2.5 to 4/3. So that is your final answer.